to another edition of What's the Word. Absolutely brilliant weekend, chock full of Group 1 action and a pattern class panel to boot as well.
Buzzing we are, aren't we? Buzzing.
Yeah, absolutely, especially Juki. Shane, how are you? Welcome
back.
Not
too bad, Tom. Yeah, thanks very much.
Nice break.
Yeah, not too bad, yeah. So back ready to motor for a busy weekend punting-wise, so...
Good stuff, right.
Yeah.
Quick fire questions to start off. What horse are you most looking forward to seeing and what horse are you most looking forward to backing this weekend? Go on, start you, Shane.
Well, most looking forward to seeing Alpha Centauri again. Been one of the stars of the season. And in relation to backing, I think Southern France could be quite a price in the English ledger at the weekend. Currently 12-1 Ladbrokes. So Southern France, most looking forward to back. And Alpha Centauri, the star of the show for the weekend.
Good stuff. What about you, Juki? Same questions.
I am most looking forward to seeing Lati Dar, because I believe that she could absolutely bolt up and there'll be a clamour for her to run in the arc that Connections will not be able to refuse. And I am most looking forward to backing Dark Vision, who is penalised against Too Darn Hot. It doesn't sound the most appetising prospect in the world, but I just don't think he should be 10 times the price of any 2-year-old in training. So
that is fair enough. Johnny, are you a little concerned about the run of potential appearance of Lati Dar?
A little concerned.
A little concerned.
Yeah, like
financially now he is.
Kew Gardens was a good thing up until this week. I'm gutted with the decision of her to run there. Taking all this, wanting virtuosity at the track and seeing these good fillies aside, like I did not want to run in this race. We're all on the Gardens bandwagon for a few months now. I read David Jennings in the Racing Post put it up like in March or April, and I looked into it and I was like, he's onto something here. And anyway, we'll see. Like I still think he's going to produce a massive performance, but
what price is he on?
What? 33s win.
Not too bad.
It's kind of strange. You're in a great position, but you're kind of you've lost some of that vigor for it. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Alpha Centauri. I'm not sure I've actually. Oh no, I saw her when she won at Nace on her debut. Don't think I've seen her in the flesh since. And the most horse I'm looking forward to back is probably Silver Code in the nightcap tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to him too. Right, let's crack on with the action then. We start with the final, the oldest classic of the season, coming to Doncaster at 3:35 on Saturday. It is William Hill St. Ledger. Give us some prices there, Shane.
Lati Darn, current favourite, Tom, as it stands, 7-4, 9-4 on the drift is Kew Gardens with 6-4 at the top of the week. Loxley 7-1, 8-1 All Persian. Southern France, who I fancy for the rest of 12s, it's 16-1 bar in the ledger.
Right, Juki, are you with the filly?
Yes. I think she will. I think there'll be 2-1 available tomorrow, which is my criteria for having a bet. Because I think the layers will look at her and say, well, she's not guaranteed to stay. I mean, Dubawi does get some stayers. Shakeside Road is running today in the Doncaster Cup, for example. But generally, they are more 10 furlong horses. So there is a worry that she mightn't stay. And what has she actually beaten? But the style of it has been so taken. And I mean, I was particularly impressed with York because I was really worried about her on the ground. I mean, I saw her in Newmarket. She is a unit. She would not want quick ground, and she still bolted up. So I will back her. I will have a saver on that made up though.
Yes.
I'll have to. I think she's around 20-1, and just an improving filly. She gets the £3 allowance. She'll definitely stay. I could see her running into a place.
Good stuff. Johnny, I feel like what I'm asking is for about 100 times this season, but who do you fancy for the ledger?
I fancy Lati Dar actually at this stage, but it's made a great race of it. I think the ledger's a cracking race, and I think if you just had Kew Gardens against a bunch of sort of decent staying horses, it would be grand and Aidan could win the race, but I'm kind of torn here because I think Kew Gardens will produce a really, really big effort. I thought his prep was brilliant and the horse were a little bit out of form, not knocked about, given weight away, strong enough at the wire. He's obviously well proven over 1.6 miles. I think he's progressed. His middle season progression has been really, really great to watch. But, she will have that bit of ease in the ground. Too Darn Hot, her brother, is going to be the talking point as well. It's an amazing family, it's just remarkable. And I wanted to back her from the Oaks the day I saw her win her debut. And, of course, as happens now, the price went straight away, left her be. She didn't run in the Oaks. She's coming here very fresh now. Frankie Dettori said after the race that this is the race. I don't see stamina being any issue. Normally with horses like with potential stamina doubts on pedigree, I would rate that a real concern. I really like taking on horses that I don't think will stay, but looking at her at York, she was kind of half niggled along 3 furlongs out, but she was just so strong. I do put, if you couple the two, you're getting something like 2s on. I don't think that's a bad bet. I can't really see anything else winning. Really looking forward to the race, and as one of the lads in the race post who's back Kew Gardens as well was saying, we have to go straight into watching Leopardstown after it, because Leopardstown just begins after the Ledger, so it's going to be a hell of a day.
Yeah, it will be a cracking day, and let's talk about Leopardstown, day one of Longshies Irish Champions Weekend. We'll start with the Coolmore Fastnet Rock Matron Stakes. Absolutely brilliant renewal last year. It looks like another one here, and it's all about surely the girl at the top of the market.
Absolutely is, Tom. 11-4 on at the moment. Alpha Centauri, Magical in there at 7-1, 8-1. Lawrence Clemmy is at 12-1 along with Happily, and it's 50-1 bar for this year's renewal.
There's nothing. What beats her herself? I mean, is there any?
Just rain, really. I mean, if you got a deluge of rain, her form on heavy is quite poor, but yielding, according to Jessica Harrington, will be fine.
Look, if it was firm in the going description earlier on.
Yeah, we had a fair bit of rain earlier on, but it'll have little to no effect at Leopardstown.
It's his own microclimate up there anyway, so
people have this notion that you can't rely on fillies, like blah blah blah. But when she has her conditions, she's bulletproof. Temperamentally, she's bulletproof. She, to me, looks an absolute certainty. I can't see her being beaten. She's one of the best fillies I've ever seen, and there'll be 2 horses cheered to the rafters if they win tomorrow, and she's one of them.
Juki? No looking past her?
Yes, I think she'll win. I'd put up Lawrence as the winner come second bet. There should be decent pace on here. Lawrence just compromises her chance every time by pulling too hard. So I think a strongly run mile might just be her optimum, actually.
Good stuff. We'll on to the second Group 1 at Leopardstown on Saturday, and it's another cracker, the Kipco Irish Champion Stakes. Look, we've got Roaring Lion here. He absolutely makes this race, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not a great renewal in some respects, because when you think of this race, even though we've English and French horses and we've Irish horses, there's kind of a lack of maybe a generation kind of clash, that maybe a lack of fillies against colts. I love this race when it brings milers against mile and a half horses, 3-year-olds against older horses, and fillies against colts. This is more of a clash of 2 of the better 3-year-olds. Roaring Lion, in fairness, he was being brilliant. His last performance was pretty exemplary, but I just think Saxon Warrior, there's nothing between them really in the Eclipse, and Saxon Warrior should be much better now than he was. Even then, when he was running 2 Group 1s in a week, which never happens, I think he'll be a lot better shape now than he was last time, because Aidan's horse will come back to form. At the prices, I'd have him each way, rather than backing Roaring Lion, even though Roaring Lion should win.
He's gone into 11-4 now, Saxon Warrior.
You're still getting like more than 1.5 that he's in the first 3, like so. I'm happy with that, with guaranteed odds. Like, I think he'll give him a run for his money.
Can you see beyond Roaring Lion? Is there anything further down? Maybe Study Man or?
Not really. I take Johnny's point about the Eclipse. Purely on the Eclipse run, Saxon has to be the bet, but it just seems like Roaring Lion has improved every single run this season. Yeah. He's become a really straightforward horse.
Yeah, now. He's grown up so much over the course of 4 runs.
Rated now as well.
Yeah,
Line.
But it's more how he's matured mentally. Like, he looked
earlier in the season,
he looked like when he was a 2-year-old last year when he got beaten.
Like,
when he got beaten in the Racing Post Trophy last year, and I was like, oh no, he could be good. But I mean, he's inside out from
just
that.
The way he travels in his races as well. And I think the mile and 2 for Saxon Warrior will be more or less the optimum trip for him.
Back to a mile, but do you not think he needs a mile still?
Mile and 2 will be absolutely. I think that'll be next to perfect. I don't think he quite gets a mile and a half, but the only thing about these races, Aidan has a good tactical edge on the Raiders here. Like, it's kind of like the Dubs taking on Sumlin Crow Park. They do get a few points advantage, like, and Aidan will remember him taking on See the Stars here and trying everything to get him beat with Fame and Glory. Roaring Lion probably isn't See the Stars.
Watched that again yesterday. Fame and Glory and Mastercross on 2nd and 3rd. Ambulance 4th. Just like, and he can't it up. But that tactical edge. Do some people fall into the trap of assuming Ballydoyle are just going to go off a million at the start, and they get kind of tricked by it? But then, as we've seen over the course of the year so far, Ballydoyle have put on slow early pace in lots of these races.
I think it possibly Deauville.
Well, I'm certainly thinking about the Irish Derby and SDS, who it was just a voodoo trick on him. I mean, he had a horse who there's not much you can do if you have a horse who's very straightforward and a jockey who knows how fast you should be going. And the SDS, who is a very good jockey, just somehow got it into his head, oh, I'm in front here, and a horse who likes to make the running and is travelling away fine, but I shouldn't be in front because Ballydoyle here. So Ballydoyle didn't know what they were going to do.
Yeah.
He knows that we know that they know. Just forget all this stuff. The Lion is a very straightforward horse. You can position him anywhere you want in the race, and there's not much they can do.
That's the point. It's not really going to make an awful lot of difference in fairness, because a strongly run 1.5 miles will just make him travel away. He has plenty of toe, like, so it's not like they're trying to expose some chink in him, but they'll run it to suit Saxon Warrior or whatever that may be. And I'm intrigued as to who tracks who of the pair.
Yeah,
so that's like to see the Stars sort of fame and glory thing when they did a bit of a flip of tactics. But that's why racing is more fascinating than people understand. There'll be a lot going on here before the race even begins.
Absolutely. The opening 6 furlongs are going to be more interesting than the closing 4. Just
great to see the French horse as well. Like he's a bit of an unknown by Deep Impact, and probably not good enough.
He'll love a slow early pace. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to any other bets on Saturday quickly, because we've got a ton more Group 1s to come. So any other bets on Saturday for you guys?
Very quickly, the 4:25 looks a right race. Massaf takes on that Mad Moon. Massaf did a lot wrong on debut, but still managed to win. The form hasn't worked out as well as Mad Moon's, but he's 5-1 against 7-4. I think Massaf's a fair price.
Yeah, Mad Moon 7-4, probably short enough. But Kevin Prendergast, 86 years of age. I can't overstate how wonderful a story this is. I think he gave up cigarettes at 50. And 36 years later, he's training possibly a big race winner. By Dawn Approach as well, it's very important for him as a stallion. But Silver Coat, he just ticks so many boxes in the nightcap.
Lovely reappearance last time.
John Murphy's only had 2 winners this season, but his horses are actually hitting form now. And Psychedelic Funk, don't knock the Funk in the mile race. He's well overpriced. I can't get over the price of the filly at the bottom, Aiden's filly, the Fascinating Rock filly.
I Can Fly.
I don't see why she's something like 3s and he's 10s, and he's as solid as the day is long. Of all the trainers I like backing, Gerlines is probably the most. You know you're going to get a run.
You're going to get a run. Colin Keane is going to hit the gates straight up. You're going to be in the first 3 to 8, and that horse is.
There is pace as well with Kenya and Aiden's other horse in it. I think the Funk could just show his 6 furlong toe to beat them.
Good stuff. Anything else on Saturday for you? That's okay. Let's move on to Sunday.
I'll give internal transfer at Listowel as well in the handicap hurdle. Could possibly make all the run earlier in the week. More aggressive tactics for the treble.
Good stuff. We've got 4 Group 1s for you on Sunday. It's a pretty decent day's racing at the Curragh. Day 2 of Longines Irish Champions Weekend. And we'll start with the first of those Group 1s. Now Group 1, the Derrynstown Stud Flying 5 at 3:05. How did they bet, Shane?
Havana Grey currently 2-1 market leader as it stands, Tom. Sioux Nation in at 7-2, 9-2 Hit the Bid. Takeover 5-1, 8-1 Battle of Jericho's 10-1 bar.
Johnny, you fancy something for this?
This is a dreadful Group 1, it has to be said, and all are clamouring for a Group 1. This is basically a glorified listed race, sadly, just the way it's happened. And the English runners last weekend, they've missed a trick here. This is a pick up candy from a baby job. Havana Gold, no real opinion on the race, but maybe him.
Havana Grey?
Havana Grey, maybe. The ground, if it comes a bit soft, will be fine for him. Son of Rest is interested in a price as well.
Yeah, particularly if it comes up soft. Probably best run of his life was on this day when he was a 2-year-old. I think he was 4th in the Nationals.
Yeah, I vaguely recall that, but he's a pivotal horse with liking for the ground. If it comes, it'll be a bit softer at the Curragh, but this is a very, very disappointing renewal.
Dookie, who do you fancy in the Flying 5?
Well, as you well know, Tom, it'd be hard to peg him back in the Curragh. We've seen that all season. And perhaps Take Cover could assume the Caspian Prince role here, jump out in front, and around 5-1. I think it's a fair price for him not to be caught.
Good stuff. An honourable word for him. What prices hit the bid there, Shane?
Hit the bid 9-2.
92.
Yeah,
I think he should be in the Frank's training.
Great for Darren
absolute
Bunyan,
world of him.
Previous winner at the Curragh.
He's this has been ever since this race announced as a Group 1. This has been the plan for Hit the Bid as well. So
I would say to British trainers, just have a look at this and be a bit regretful that you haven't a runner in it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why not win this rather than the sprint last weekend?
Or get
Harry Angel will come over here and basically just have a faggot halfway through the race and win.
Let's move on to the Moytlair Stud Stakes. It is regularly the best 2-year-old fillies race in Europe. Why do you bet on this one, Shane?
Just wonderful. 3-1 favourite, 4-1 main edition. Skitter Scatter in at 4-1, 7-1 then Zagatova, 7-1 Lady Kea, 8-1 Beyond Reason. It's 16-1 bar than the rest.
Doogie, we had incredibly high hopes of the Debutante Stakes. Traditionally, the sort of prep for this one, Skitter Scatter was in there in 4-1, but it was kind of a heartbreaking story that day, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it was great for a small yard to have a big winner, but I was all set. I mean, the debutantes arrived for the season. The Queen was going to have a look at them and say, "Oh, what a fine crop of debutantes we've got here." But the whole race was a shambles. I don't understand. The second comes out then and finishes last 6 days later. I'm writing that race off.
Okay.
And so I can back Hermosa again.
Okay.
I'm going to say Hermosa cannot have run a race. Or it's possible that my eyes deceive me, which does happen. So Hermosa is
20-1.
20-1.
Okay.
If you write
if you were in Galway and I told you the day she'd won that maiden, I'll give you 20-1 there and then for the for the Moidler. Like, you would have snapped my hand up.
She was actually 14s, like early prices the last day as well. She was very, like, I know she was back, but she wasn't at all regarded by the market.
No, that is true, although they came for her ultimately. But yeah, I'm still a Hermosa believer.
Okay. Johnny, what about you?
There's a danger we're just consistently writing off Skitter Scatter because she's trained by Patrick Prendergast, who's not Aidan O'Brien or whatever.
By Scat Daddy.
By Scat Daddy, which would be a little bit of a proviso regarding the ground here, because I'm not sure if it is yielding softish at the Curragh, which it might be.
What price do you think he'd be if he was trained by Aidan O'Brien? 4-1 currently.
She'd definitely be twos, maybe.
Yeah. Well, she's won the debutante and then she's going to the Moidler trained by Aidan O'Brien, so she'd be round about.
Yeah,
64, you'd imagine.
Aidan's Dan Silly filly here, whose name escapes me.
Just wonderful.
Just wonderful. Is kind of a default selection. I really did like her performance the last day, the way she quickened. The race was over in a matter of seconds, and probably is the pick of them here. Zagatova and Hermosa.
Fleeting came out and won impressively yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good performance as well.
Yeah, very good performance.
And I thought she's beautifully bred filly. She's bred for a bit further, but you know they thought a lot for Senator Royal Ascot so early on. And Hermosa, I mean, what'll happen here is I'll back Just Wonderful, and Hermosa will do me on the line because I thought the last issue was a massive price, but I'm going with Aidan's apparent mainstring here. An intriguing renewal, but not one to get too buzzy about.
Let's move on to the Goslings and O'Brien National Stakes and the AVD, surely top
absolutely, Tom. Another star of the weekend to look forward to. Currently 5-4 favourite, just ahead of Quarta, who's in here at 6-4. Then we go 7-1, bar the front two.
This is a cracking clash, isn't it, Jukey?
Yeah.
Quarta and AVD.
Well, I'm preaching to the choir here. There's some massive Quarta fans here. I think Quarta will go off favourite, and I think he should go off favourite. I think he'll have too much speed for the AVD.
Good stuff. What about you, Johnny?
It's a great clash of the two powerhouses and Dubawi against Galileo as well. I wasn't taken at all by AVD the last day.
That did come in a time where O'Brien's weren't firing on all cylinders, so that has to be taken into account.
And he beat a stable mate who he was always going to beat, but he beat him half a length, and you're like, nah, wasn't blown away. But these are the two Guineas kind of winners for me next year, and I'm kind of with Quarto. He's damn ran a blinder in the Oaks at the Curragh, from what I recall. She's a Mount Nelson filly, volume. So he's a nice blend of stamina and speed, but I think he looks sensationally good. He was 11-4, I remember, when we were doing our show here the last day he ran, and then he rocks up at 5-4, bolts up. I think he's a special horse, and there will be a lot of people cheering him, despite, you know, patriotic kind of urges and all that, to beat AVD. Clash of the weekend, quite possibly clash of the Sunday anyway. Yeah,
good stuff. On to the Common Group Irish St. Ledger. How did it back for this one, Shane?
Just give me one moment now until I get the ledger up on screen here. Currently, Flag of Honour 13-8 favourite, 5-2 then La Trobe, 4-1 Weekender, Idaho in at 5-1, 10-1 Twilight Payment, 100-1 the outsider Cypress Creek.
This is a fascinating coming together, a few different kind of form lines. You know, you got Flag of Honour as an absolute stare, La Trobe, they're a little unsure about what his actual trip is. Idaho coming back, Weekender from the Ebor as well.
On Enable last week and
pulled out. Yeah,
I assume they just did that to try and get his mark up for Melbourne, and then it's a similar story today.
Yeah, I don't know really. I find this race a puzzle, I have to say. You know, we've no order of St. George. Age caught up with him apparently. I'm tentatively with La Trobe because he does like the Curragh, and I think he'll be up in the van. But I don't know, Dukey, can you help? It's a tricky one.
Well, it is a tricky, and when you mentioned the van as well, Flag of Honour likely face more competition for the lead here with Weekender and La Trobe.
There's very little between him and Twilight Payment as well. If you were to have a place bet in the race, Twilight Payment will always give you his running.
Yeah, but he hasn't got the penalty this time, Flag of Honour, so he should confirm it, shouldn't he?
And he's probably more progressive.
Yes. Idaho in there, 5-1. It's only ever ran twice at the Curragh as well, so
that's hard to believe.
Out of what, 22 runs in his career.
Idaho is kind of like Dove in other colours, like, isn't he? Kind of
behind Harrison, yeah.
He's what he is like.
So you're just going with La Trobe just because?
No bet, but La Trobe.
Jukey?
Probably no bet, but Flag of Honour is a worthy fav.
Got to be Camelot's first classic winner if this is a classic.
La Trobe won a classic.
He did. He was his first classic.
Yeah. And third generation classic winner as well. Anyway, right, Shane, who's your quick selection in the ledger?
Yeah, Idaho for me, Tom, at the price is 5-1.
Good stuff. Right, any other bets on Sunday? It is a pretty decent card. Any other ones standing out for you, Jukey?
Just a quick one. I noted Lethal Steps, who has quite a few first time gelded, first time tongue tie, and first time for Gelliot. Now, he's not coming from rubbish stables. He's been with Airlines and Andrew Balding, but he always struck me as a horse with potential. If the operation or the tongue tie has the desired effect, he's a 3-year-old, not totally exposed, could have a class edge here.
Good stuff. Anything else for you in the Sunday card, Jenny?
Trezorior in the first race. This will be a fancy price for the great JJ Fiend. A trainer that, you know, if you want a trainer who doesn't answer his phone to the owner, that's JJ Fiend. He's
okay.
an ultimate enigma. This horse is fascinating. Come down nicely in the weights from Madame Marek, I think, trains. Madame Ed Marek, I think, trained in France. I catch her Roscommon last time, creeps in at the bottom. The boy Dave is claiming the 5, rain on the way, lots of positives, including the price.
If he beats Urban Beat, he's a machine.
Urban Beat has been the flag bearer for a trainer who's really going places.
Yeah,
he will be hard to beat, but you know, everything has a price.
Well, time now for our best bets of the weekend, and what's a brilliant weekend, of course. Best odds guaranteed on multiples in Ladbroke shops from 12 till 2 every day. So go on, Shane, best bet of the weekend and a multiple.
Yeah, just to mention as well briefly, Tom, plenty of short price favourites said to be taken on over the weekend. Don't forget, we're money back if you finish second to the winning SB Fab in the Republic of Ireland shops at Leopardstown and the Curragh. Going to put in a couple of shorties first of all. Roaring Line, I think, will be very difficult to beat in the Irish Champions Stakes, along with going to put in Just Wonderful at 3-1 in the Michael there, and then finally I think Southern France in the English Ledger at 12-1.
Good stuff. Jiggy?
Best bet is Dark Vision in. He's in the Champagne Stakes. I'm not sure what time it's at in Doncaster, and I will stick him in Trixie with Massaf in the 425 in Leopardstown and Roaring Line in the Irish Champion Stakes.
Good stuff. Right, Johnny, best bet of the weekend, multiple?
Silver Code in the nightcap. I'll give my second selection as, and this is going to be very optimistic, Legal Spin in the first race. Yeah. And then the third selection, let's go with Alpha Centauri, because if the other two come in, it'll be a good enough double. Should be a shoe-in, yeah. She's, if you want to have one bet this weekend, put on 100 quid and get 33 back or 40 back by backing her, and it'll pay for your food and drink for an hour or so.
Depending on how much the weekend is Urban Beat in the opener on the card at the Curragh on Sunday. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week with more What's the Word.